Thanks for tuning in to another video, and today I have the Amazfit T Rex 3 Pro. Now I did a full review on this, I'll leave that in the description, but today I'm basically going to do a rapid fire tips and tricks kind of video for the display options and some customizations that you can do. And I'll have a bonus tip customization at the end of the video, so try to stay through it if you can. Let's get right to it. I'm going to show you how to keep your screen on during your workout. So let's get into settings. You gotta scroll down here and swipe over. Let's get into settings. And we have to find workout. There we go. Let's click on this. Let me scroll down here. Always on display during workout. So now when it detects you're working out or when you actually tell it that you're doing an exercise, the screen will stay on. Just keep in mind, obviously, if you have long workouts, the screen is on the whole time. That might use up a good amount of battery. Let's move on to the next tip, right? See, I told you this is going to be fast. We're going to scroll down here. I'm in settings, and I'm going to scroll down to accessibility. This is all the way at the bottom. Whoops, there we go. And let's go ahead and select that. And this is where you would change your text size. Pretty self-explanatory there. And again, you can change it much bigger if you want. There you go, and it shows you what it's going to look like. And then this would be the smallest, if I could hit that button. There we go. That's the smallest. Let's get it back to where it was, right? That's pretty good. Now, another cool feature of the Amazfit, and some other watches have this, it's the night display. But this one has a much better night display than other companies, I think. So let me show you that. Let's get into settings. I really should put it over there so I don't have to keep scrolling back and forth here, right? And let me get down here to display. We're going to hit select, and there we go, night display. Let me hit that. Now we could toggle it on and off, obviously. Then we could scroll down here though, and well, let me just show you this. You could auto enable it with the schedule, and you could change the schedule if you want just by tapping the screen, or you could just manually turn it on and off when you want to. The other nice thing is you have color options. You have red, orange, and green. And I'll just show you what these all look like really fast. The other nice thing though, this is for any watch face that you have in the Amazfit's Zepp app. So anything you have, you can change the color, whereas some other watches limit you to, only a few watch faces. This one, you can do it for all of them. So let's do green here. And I'll also show you if we get back out of this. So I'm in the quick toggles, but if I just hit this little quick toggle, that turns on my night display automatically. There we go. So kind of great. And there is the night display, but it will be like this for everything. Your apps, your settings, all the stuff will be this color. Let me just show you the other colors real fast. So when I just actually changed the watch face. So again, this watch face actually has a lot of colors on it. I'll show you that in a minute, but they all turn to red when I do that. And you're going to get this for everything. So your apps, your settings, everything is going to be that color. So there we go for that one. Now let me show you the last color, which is orange. And there's orange. Leave it in the comments if you think this is a useful feature, or if you use the feature right now. But again, it changes everything. And let me show you what this watch face looks without the color here. And so this is what the watch face looks like normally. You ready for the next tip? This actually brings me to my next tip, the always on display. There's a lot of different options that you have on this, and probably more options on this one than some other watches. So let's get into it. We got to go into our settings. And of course, I could customize these buttons and make one of them control the settings feature, but I just haven't yet. So let's get into a display here. We're going to hit the select, and we have to go to always on display. So everything is where you would expect right now, right? Which actually is nice. So you could toggle the always on display on and off. That's nice. And then the enable method, this is your options. Let me show you this. You could manually, again, just turn it on and off as you need to. Smart, which basically means it is on all day, and then it just turns it off when it detects that you're going to sleep. And then you could also schedule it if you want, or you could just have it all the time. It's up to you. But let me show you the always on style. There's let me go into it here. So you could follow the watch face. So whatever watch face you have, like you saw what this is. Let me get back to this. This is my watch face, and then that's my always on display. And it doesn't really mirror this one, but it's the always on display for this one. Let me show you another watch face that's probably a better example of it. So if you look at this watch face, you can see what that looks like. And let me show you what the always on display is that follows this watch face. And you can see that kind of makes sense because that's exactly where the clock is on the regular watch face, but that is the always on display. And if I turn on the watch face, again, it kind of just fills in the rest, but the clock is in the same spot. So I kind of like that sort of design. But let me go back to the always on display settings and show you what else is available. Now leave it in the comments if you like this kind of rapid fire, just going through a couple of things that might be helpful, or if you'd like me to spend a little more time on each of these tips. But here we go with the always on style. I just click on that, and this is follow the watch face. That's what I had, but I could also do style selection. So if I click on this, it gives me some options, and I think there's like 6 here. All right. There we go. Those are all of them. But I could have this one as my always on display, which is a digital watch face, but my regular watch face could be analog, or vice versa for this one. So that's an option. And then I'll also just show you here, if I have this, this means I can edit this a little bit. So if I click on this, it just gives me some options. And you can see here, I could change the background. So I think I could just hit down, and there we go. So it gives me some different colors and things that I could have on there. And this one has the same kind of thing. These are the only 2 that are editable. I could change this complication to whatever I want. Well, not whatever I want, but whatever's listed here. So a bunch of different options there. And then that will be on the always on display. So that's kind of cool. Great, I am glad that you are still here. Please consider subscribing, add in a comment if any of these features were helpful, and liking the video, I'd really appreciate it. So let's keep moving. Okay, now if I raise the watch, it wakes up the screen. So there's a couple of options that you could adjust on this if it's not working like you want. So again, let's get into settings. And then I just have to get into display. And we scroll down here. Wake on wrist. So the response speed you can change, standard or sensitive. And then you could enable the status. So this might be nice if you don't want this function on all the time. So if you click on it, you could have it smart. Again, it will turn it off when you're sleeping, basically. You could have it scheduled, or you could just have it on all day, or you could turn the feature off if it's going off too often and killing some of your battery. Not a major concern on this one because the battery life is fairly good, but you could turn it off if you want to. Now the other feature, since I'm here, I'm just going to show you this. I wasn't really going to talk about it, but tap to wake. This is another one that you might want to customize a little bit. You click here, you can do a single tap to wake it up, but that might be waking it up too often, so you could have a double tap, and then you could also turn it off if the screen is going off too frequently. So again, this is the always on display, but if I do the double tap, it wakes up the screen. So again, you could have a single tap, you could do the double tap, or you could just turn that off if you don't like the feature. Okay, so let me just show you the navigation real fast here, and then I'm going to show you how to customize these things. So if you swipe down, we're going to get into the quick toggles like I've been doing all video. I'll show you how to customize these things. If you swipe up, we're going to get into the shortcuts, and again, I'll show you how to customize this stuff. Swiping over this way just gets your notifications, and then swiping over this way opens up your apps. And again, I'm going to show you how to customize all this stuff. First off, we'll start with quick toggles. You could also do this in the Zepp app, but I'll just show you on the watch because it's actually pretty easy to do. So we just swipe down here, and again, you get 2 panels of them, and you have 9 on each panel or on each screen here, so you can have a total of 18. But if you just push and hold it somewhere, you get into edit mode. So now I could minus any of these if I want. Let's get rid of this one since I really don't even know what it is. Now I could add them if I want. And there is actually a fairly good amount on here. And basically, the compass and timer, these are apps that are in your quick toggles now, which is kind of cool, right? And those are what you have there. Let me hit back. And now let me just get back into the edit mode. And there we go. And now I can move these. So if I just push and hold this, and I could scroll it to wherever I want, and it just slides over. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so let me show you the shortcuts. So if you swipe up, this is our shortcuts. And I really like these. Actually, in most watches, it's the tiles that you just scroll through all of them. But you can see here, there's a lot you can fit on here and go through them very quickly, which is nice. But if you just go down to the bottom here, and then you hit this icon, now I could delete the ones that are there. I'll just show you here what's on there. And then on the bottom here, you're going to see what is available. We're going to get into the pluses here in a minute. So these are the ones I could add. And it's actually a fairly good amount of icons that you can have here. So I did add all the shortcuts I wanted. I got rid of the ones I didn't want. Now before I hit done, I'm going to finish editing it. So if I want to move these around, I can only move the ones that are on my watch already. So I just got to push and hold it. and then I could scroll it to wherever I want, and it can go into a new location. And then I could just hit the back button if I want, or I could just hit done, and there we go. Now let me show you what we could do with the apps. If I just scroll over here, this is the apps. Now to get into edit mode, I just have to push and hold it. Now I'm in edit mode, right? But I can't delete any of these, which is actually kind of weird because there might be a lot here that I don't use. The only ones I could delete are the ones on the bottom here. And you can see the little minus signs there. But that's it. All the other ones I have to keep. And then in the More app, there is actually another set of apps, which I have to edit separately. I can't do it at the same time, which is just kind of a little bit weird. But now if I want to move these, I just have to push and hold it, and then I could scroll it to wherever I want, and now it's in its new location. Okay, so let me show you how this stuff works on the app. It's just probably a little easier. And for the Amazfit T Rex 3 Pro, we need the Zepp app. I just click on that. This is the home page. I've been testing a couple other watches along the way here, so there's no information here. But I'm going to go into device, and there's an update available. I'm not going to update it right now. We're just going to keep moving here. I'm going to go into device settings. And then, let's find it here. The control center is actually the quick toggles. So if you click on that, this gives me all the quick toggles that are there. And now I could delete them. These are the ones that I could add if I want, and then I could move them. So if I want to do this, I could just move it to a different location, right? But I could also, instead of hitting the minus and the pluses, I could just move one to the other side and add it on like that. So that's kind of an easy thing to do, and then I could save it, and then we're done. Now I'll just show you one more thing since I'm in this app right here. But every morning you get a morning update, and it will give you some details like on the weather and your sleep and your energy levels and things like that. But you could modify it. So let's just click on it, and you could toggle it on and off. If you don't like it for some reason, you can just toggle it off. But then we can customize the contents right here. And this is what is there, and you can see the options. And then there's only a couple to add. But there we go. And then we could just save it. And then, of course, you can move these just like every other menu. I can move it to a different location if I want, and then save it. Now, if you really had good eyes, you saw, before I got into this menu, there was the app list management. And there's also shortcut cards. So you could adjust both of these right here in the app. And this is in the device portion of the app. Let's get into app list management. So it's going to show me all the apps. Now, if you notice here, I can delete all of these. I couldn't delete them on the watch, but I can in the app. Just where you got to look for it. And then if you scroll down here, we're going to get into the More. So in the More app, if I scroll down here, let's get into the apps. And if I hit More on the bottom, these are the apps that are in the More section. And they're right here. Now, again, I could minus these down. I can move them wherever I want. But in kind of the More app is maybe some apps that you don't use as frequently, but at least it's still there and it's pretty accessible if I want. So again, I can move these from the main app section to the More section if I want, or vice versa. I could do all that stuff. And then if I don't want something, like if I don't want the calendar, I just hit minus, and now it's gone. And it's going to be down here in the hidden items. If I want to add it back in, obviously I just hit the plus sign, or I could just scroll it over. Now it's in the More section. Again, I may not want it there. I might want it up here, so I just have to move it all the way up there. Now, if you want to add any apps, there is no third-party apps on here, but if you go into the Zepp app, right up here, there's the App Store. So over here, you get into your apps. Some might be useful for you. I didn't find anything all that exciting, but they have built this up quite a bit, and there's a lot more apps available in here than before. A lot of them are free, and some of them are $1 or $2 or something like that, but that's where you find it. Now, let's get back into this, because we want to get into our shortcut cards, because that's the last thing we could adjust here. And these are all the shortcut cards that I have. And let me just scroll down here. These are the ones that are not resident, which basically means they're not on the watch. And those are the ones I could add. Now, on this one, for some reason, it's just a different layout than the other ones. It's always been like that. I'm not really sure why, but that's the way it is. So I can't minus them from here. I can't add them from here. I got to scroll it like this. So if I want to get rid of the world clock, I have to hold it and scroll it into non-resident. Now it's off of my shortcut cards. And if I want to add one in, I got to take it, one of these that are not resident, and then I have to scroll it up into my resident apps, and now I'll see them there. It's just a different way of laying it out. I'm not really sure why, but that's what the deal is. So we could save that. So another nice feature of the T Rex 3 Pro here is you have 4 buttons, and some of these can be customized. The options that you can customize is the long press of the select button, a quick press of the select button, a long press of the down button, and then a double press of the back button. So that's quite a bit that you can do here. If you long press the top here, you're going to open up the flashlight. So that's a feature that's locked there. But let's get into settings again. There we go. And let's get down. I got to find the feature here. It's going to be in preferences. There we go. Let's hit that. And let me scroll down here. It's going to be shortcut buttons. Let's hit that. And again, we got the long press of the select button, just the press of the select button, long press of the down button, which is over here, and the double press of the back button. And all the features are the same for every button here. So if I just click on one of these, you can see you could have none. So you could have it just toggled off if you're hitting it by accident or something like that. But then you do get a lot of options here. These options are available for any of the button customizations that I just showed you. So a lot of things that you could open up quickly. And that's it. And we're back up to the top. Okay, now you can change the icons here. Let me get back to the beginning here. If you just long press this button, you'll get back to the home screen here. Because sometimes you're several sub-menus down, and then you got to hit the back button like 3 or 4 times to get back. If you just push and hold it, you get back to here. But let's change the icon theme. Some people might like to do that. So let's get into here. We're going to get into settings again. And we have to get into display. There we go. And then theme. Let's hit that. And then you only have 3 here. But default, the business, and the vibrant. So you decide which one you like. Now there's just one other customization you could do right here. The screen color style. There's 2 choices here. We could have the vivid or the natural. Again, you decide which one you want. I liked it in the vivid, so we'll keep it there. Okay, so I appreciate you making it through the entire video here, and we are almost done. This was, like I said, a lot of tips squished together pretty quickly, I think. If you like this kind of format, let me know in the comments. But here is the bonus tip. It is changing the quick replies. Okay, so I have a text coming through here. And again, this is my options here. I got the keyboard. I got a voice to text, which works really well. I got all my emojis if I want. I have the AI assistant, which will come up with something that it thinks it's useful if you have enough information on the text. Or I have my quick replies. If I click on this, that's where they are. Now I could adjust these. I could add them. I could edit them. So let me show you how to do that. You can't do it on the watch. You got to do it on the app. So let's go. Okay, so I'm back in the Zepp app here. I'm in the device portion of the app. And I'm just going to scroll down here a little bit. We're going to go into notifications and reminders. Let's click on that. And now we're going to go into notification. And there's a bunch of options that you might want to toggle on and off in here. But we're going to go into the quick response management. So let me click on that. And these are the ones I have. And I could edit them. I could move them around like we did before. I could minus them and just get rid of it if I want. And then I could add some. So let me just do that. I'm going to hit done here. But now I got to hit add. And again, I could do whatever I want. And then I can save it. And then I could add, I don't know, I think it holds like 20 messages or so. So there you go. You could add a bunch in there. You could edit them, and that will show up on your quick replies for the text and actually also on the phone. So I'll just show you. This is the quick replies here. See this one I added there. So let me show you that it's available in the phone quick replies. So let me get out of this. And then, of course, you have to click this on if you want to get your text. But let me get back out of here. Now, to do the phone quick replies, you have to get out of this, and we actually have to go down here to the phone. So let me click on here. And there's a couple of features here that you might want to turn on and off. You could just turn it off so you don't get phone calls to your watch. You could turn this middle one on, which basically just means you're going to get the notification, but you cannot answer the phone call at all. So you probably want this one on. This is the Bluetooth calls. This means you'll get the notification and you could talk on the phone and answer it and hang up and all that other stuff. And this is where the quick replies are. I could toggle them on and off if I want. And let's manage them. So let's click on this. And you can see this is the same set that we had there. And this is that wacky one that I just made. And again, you can edit them, add them. So your quick replies will be available for your text responses and also to decline a phone call. You could decline it with these quick replies. Okay, that is my quick take on the customizations of the displays and your app lists and quick toggles and all that other kind of stuff. I'll have more tips and tricks videos on this because this thing can do a lot. In my full review, I went over all the map features and navigation and all that kind of stuff. So check the description if you're interested in that. So if there's anything you want to know more about, please leave it in the comments. If this was helpful at all, please consider subscribing. Check out my other Amazfit reviews. I've reviewed, I think, every Amazfit watch that's out there. Check out my channel for that, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.